Ready to take your favorite Wager Talk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The Wager Talk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like Wager Talk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report, plus browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for Wager Talk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy, Thursday to you here now as we welcome in the month of December. That is right, December 1st, 2022, and we got a lot of college basketball on our minds here. Over the next month or so, we'll be saying goodbye to college football and, of course, awaiting the return of March Madness. A lot of basketball between then and now, and we've got a few games here tonight. Fantastic matchups here early on in the season, and three of the finest at wagertalk.com here going to help us cash a few tickets here tonight in college hoops, as Drew Martin in the house here joining us, as is Tony Mejia ready to go, and of course the one and only Adam Trigger, fresh off I believe he got locked in the gym at Canisius, and they finally let him out. So it's a pleasure to see you, as always, Trig. Gentlemen, love this time of year in college hoops. Teams still trying to figure out who they are, but Drew Martin doesn't want to hear that crap because he has made a New Year's resolution not to lose another damn game. 12-1, Drew. What in the hell is going on? You are crushing it, my man. And I understand you got a 5% best bet tonight?
Feeling it, Joe. You know how it is in this business, man. When you're rolling it good, just keep on going, baby. So, yeah, hey, if there's a downfall, it's I'm a little bit streaky in the sports betting business, but that's good. Some of the time when you're streaky in the hot way, you got to ride these streaks. So, yeah, Joe, seeing it well. Got a big play up, max limit 5%, wagertalk.com, going tonight. Game I really like. And, hey, excited to break down these three games with you. Got a best bet here given out. Just got down on. So always fun to talk some college hoops, man. Thanks for having me on, Joe.
It's awesome. 12-1, crushing it, guys. That 5% best bet. Go get it. Go get it. Adam Trigger, what is going on with you, my friend? I understand you might have a play or two in action here today, and you too continuing to cash these tickets here, my friend. I know you're looking forward to college football and, of course, college basketball, the NFL this weekend. What's going on over at Wager Talk?
Yeah, Joe, I mean, football's been awesome. Number one on the site this season across college football and NFL in terms of units gained. Had another big week last weekend. 5% NFL play goes on Sunday. I think I'm on a 16-6 football run with 5% run with the football plays. So football's been great. College hoop, good start to this week. 3-1 to start this week. Hopefully I've got 9 more in me like Drew does to get up to that point. But, yeah, 2-0 night last night. Butler gets it done. Eastern Michigan wins outright as an 8.5-point underdog, so that was a nice winner. And I've got 2 more 4% college basketball plays tonight. One I'm going to give to you for free on the show, and the other one is currently up at my page. You can check that out at wagertalk.com.
Love it. And we've got, fresh off, speaking of 5% best bets, fresh off a cha-ching winner last night, Mejia in the association. Congrats there. What are you following that up with here tonight? Lot to choose from here on the card.
Yeah, I mean, we lost this morning on a 2% World Cup play because Belgium couldn't find the back of the net despite 18 million chances, and so now they're out of the World Cup, and Croatia got the draw. And it was an incredible goalless draw. goalless draws are not boring if you're like that. And now an entire country is in shambles over the results. So, and I got something going on right now with the Japan-Spain game. Definitely going to lock in a couple college basketball plays tonight, since there's only one NBA game and one NFL game to really lock in on. So lots to do over the next couple hours, including joining you for the college football happy hour next hour. So plenty available, and busy championship weekend, obviously. NFL Week 13, just take my ratchet play. So lots up and out there.
Yeah, no, guys, no reason. Holidays are, I can't even say it with a straight face. The holidays are almost here. We had one coming. Christmas is coming. And guys, give yourself the best gift now. Head over to wagertalk.com and check out these guys and what they've got going on here tonight into this weekend as we check out one of the featured matchups here tonight. I'm looking very, very forward to this game here, as we're going to take a look at Texas laying 6.5. Chris Beard's like, yeah, I got you right here. Taking on Creighton, another team which I got to tell you, watching them in the tournament here just the last couple of weeks, phenomenal team there, going toe-to-toe with just about everyone they faced. 140 is the total, Drew. Listen, Texas at home, they are a force, but can they continue to play the way they are doing and win by margin? 6.5 feels like a big number here. Oh, is he muted? Wait a minute, Drew. Hold on. I think we got you.
Oh, sorry about that, Joe.
All right, no problem. I didn't want to have to read the lips. Go ahead. You got it.
Yeah. Coming from the casting couch, got a couple things going on here. Creighton and Texas going at it, laying near a touchdown here with the Longhorns. And you bring up being at home in Austin. And first off, they haven't played a true road game yet, Joe. And they're not going to until New Year's Eve. So that kind of tells me when they do play a road game, maybe look to go against them just because they're not going to be used to it, especially if it's a tough environment. But maybe look to bet on them at home. Of course, one of the best coach teams with Chris Beard. He brought Texas Tech all the way to the national championship pre-pandemic in 2019. And it's a team top 12 in both offense and defensive efficiency. When you're good, when you're that efficient on both ends of the floor, that's a team I really want to bet on. But, Joe, you bring up Creighton, the Bluejays, and when you look at their schedule, oh, my, Texas Tech, Arkansas, Arizona, and now Texas, those are 4 likely tournament teams. So they're already battle-tested here. They're off of a 2-point loss to Arizona. That's a really good Arizona team, which we're going to talk in a couple games here. Looking at this one, I would go to Texas. However, they're only shooting 67% from the free throw line, and at -6.5, that could be foul fest down the end. Plus, to your point, Creighton pretty good. So I'm laying off the side. 140 and a half is the total. Both of these two teams combining, Joe, 9-3 to the over. Both very good on the offensive end. If you're looking for a bet in this one, Creighton, Texas, great game, I'd go up and over, Joe.
Up and over the total there. Not a bad look there, Trig. I can't get over how deep Texas is. Kind of, they just keep rotating these ridiculous long athletic wing players in and out of the game. Nobody averages, more than 15 minutes? They can throw a lot out at you here. How does Ken Creighton hang with them here long enough in this game to get the cover or even the win?
No, Joe, they can't. Texas and Houston, 2 best teams in the country. I took positions on them prior to the season. I still feel strongly about that. I mean, Texas is, first of all, this is a horrible spot for Creighton. Like, these tournaments, these MTE tournaments are a little bit of fantasy land, Joe. It's like, it's not, you go and you have a multi-team event, and there's a bunch of high-profile teams. They got some good competition in, but I really think that the results on those can just about be thrown out. I thought they looked good against Arkansas. Obviously, they played Arizona closer, but really, the thing is here, they come back from Maui, and they have to play at Texas in what I think is a very good environment in this new arena. If you go back to the Gonzaga game, the environment in that game was awesome. It looks like Texas is going to be a really difficult home team this year, place to play at home. And I really think the matchup is going to be tough for Creighton as well. Texas, it's hard to score on them in the paint. So Kalkbrenner's going to have a harder time than he's had really to date this season. I think getting it going in the paint. Texas, the defense is just top notch. And you look at Creighton. Creighton they've come out of the gate better than I thought they were going to. I was worried that they were a little bit young and a little bit overvalued coming into the season. I was overly overall. I was impressed with them in the Maui tournament. They go 2-1. I thought they played Arizona tough, but they haven't seen a team that's going to be in their shorts, Joe, like this Texas team is. It's a true road game. I believe it's their first true road game of the season, which is always a potential tough spot. And it just happens to be against what I consider to be, I'll say, if they're not the best team in the country, they're the second best team in the country. There's no way I'm betting against Texas. If I was going to bet this game, I would lay the points. Wouldn't be surprised if Creighton gets sent packing, similar to Gonzaga did on this floor a couple weeks ago. I like the Longhorns.
All right, liking the Longhorns. I mean, they don't turn the ball over like Gonzaga does, Tony Mejia, but Texas is only allowing 26% from three. Like, damn, where are the points coming from, Mejia? How does Creighton get this done, or don't they?
I don't think they do, but if they're going to do it, you have to have Kalkbrenner impose his will inside, which means Dylan Visu gets in foul trouble. That's step one. And then you need Baylor Shireman and the younger Nemhart to hit some threes, some key threes down the stretch. And then Drew made an excellent point about finishing teams off late in games when you're somewhat struggle at the free throw line. But Tyrese Hunter's a 92% free throw shooter, so you have to get the ball out of his hands if you're Creighton when you're playing the foul game down the stretch. And then maybe if you get lucky when Marcus Carr gives you a couple of misses. He's been in college for 10 years now, and should be able to close out games. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those fun early matchups that unless you're gung-ho on a team like Trig is on Texas, I'll just enjoy watching it. Same thing with the two big games yesterday in UNC Indiana and Duke Ohio State. Just kind of take some notes and learn some lessons.
All right, should be an awful lot of fun here. Marquee matchup tonight with the Longhorns hosting Creighton. This one should be interesting as well as the Jayhawks, Kansas, taking on Seton Hall in this one. I'm seeing double digits here for Kansas, laying 10. Total 138.5. This one set for 9 o'clock Eastern time. Shaheen Holloway, first year, hasn't been great, Drew. This crap team, Siena, I don't know if you ever heard of them, just end up smoking them in the last game. It has not been great, but hey, Seton Hall's got a lot of experience. What do you think about their chances here against Kansas?
Like the way you put that, Joe. Yes, Siena. Who's ever heard of them? But no. Just joking with Trig there, an alumni. But yeah, looking at Seton Hall, I mean, it is kind of a head-scratching loss. If you go by a lot of metrics here, Siena's ranked in the number 200. So of course, in college basketball, that's not all that great. Could they improve? Could it be off? Absolutely. This is a short sample size, guys, in college basketball. I mean, I guess it is December 1st, but whenever you're betting November college basketball into early December, you got to use short sample sizes, and it can be kind of profitable out the gate. That's why I like betting college basketball so much. It's a lot of different angles to kind of go at here. And actually, Joe, I mean, looking at Kansas, I mean, they're the more talented team, in my opinion, but it comes back to, Tony just touched on it again, in terms of making free throws down the stretch. You want to be betting on teams that have more than a 70% make rate from the free throw line, and Kansas hasn't qualified so far. And in fact, they're awful from the line, just 62% on the year. So laying 9-10 here, it's not necessarily foul fest range, but it could be. And therefore, I don't want to lay the number here, double digits with Kansas. In fact, I looked at this one, Joe, from a totals perspective again. It opened 136. It got steamed to 139. Somebody smoked this. And I tend to agree with it. Now it's, 138, 138.5. Kansas, the better team, the more talented team. They've scored 80-plus points in 5 games already this season. Sometimes when you're getting a favorite early in the season, they can make, they can do the heavy lifting and getting it up and over just by kind of flirting with triple digits. If they score 90 points, this has a huge shot at going over. So if you're looking for betting this one, Joe, Seton Hall in Kansas, I'd go up and over again, 138.5.
Love it. Drew brings up a great point here, Trig. If I'm not mistaken, Seton Hall, and it's a crazy number, they have forced teams to get just about 23% of their total points from the free throw line. And Kansas, like Drew was pointing out, they're trash. They can't hit from the free throw line. So it's an interesting dynamic in this game. Who do you give the edge to?
Well, first of all, both teams have been banged up. I saw Kevin McCullough might not play. Doubtful. That, to me, would be important. I don't know that, any individual on the Seton Hall side is gonna really move the number. But collectively, they've had guys missing games, and they've struggled. You referenced the Siena game. They weren't good in that game. They were a 15-point favorite, and they were second best the entire game. They really were the lesser team in that game. I like Holloway. I liked him a lot as a coach at St. Peter's. This long before St. Peter's became a household name last March, because I felt like he always kind of got his teams to buy into what he wanted to do on defense, and he was willing to just play ugly, win games in the 50s and whatnot. But it looks like it's taking some time to sort of get that into place in his new home here. I think the number right now, if you wanted to bet Kansas, you missed your opportunity. At 10, I really tried hard to make a case for Seton Hall here. I think if all of their guys are playing tonight, I think you could roll with the plus 10 as a potentially a value bet. I'm not going to be betting Seton Hall just because I still need to see a little bit more from them before I want to back them on the road against Kansas. I don't think Kansas is, another kind of take I had coming into the season where, I was hearing a lot of Texas, Baylor, Kansas. I don't think Kansas is as good as Baylor and Texas. Obviously, Baylor got demolished the other day, so we'll see about them. But Kansas, I think, is going to be a tad overvalued in the market until they get cut down to size a little bit. Almost happened against Wisconsin. They failed to cover that game. So my take here is the number's probably too big. I have my reservations about Seton Hall. The only way I would play it at the current number is Seton Hall plus 10, and it's probably a game I'm just going to watch and not get involved in.
So they haven't really been crushing it from three yet there, Tony. The offense has been inconsistent, certainly. Tennessee showed them what a quality defense and owning the boards will do to them.
Yep.
Seton Hall, can they pull that off, or at least make life difficult to keep it within the 10?
Spot-wise, they should, because, Shaheen Holloway ripped them a new one after they lost to Siena, but basically said guys don't want to play. That's a little early in the season for that, and they have a lot of veterans on the team. He brought in Defo with him. Alamir Dawes, who came over from Clemson. He's been in college forever, too. So, this is a spot where they should respond to the moment of playing in, one of college basketball's cathedrals and stepping up. And, I don't think this Kansas team is as good as previous years. I do like Grady Dick. I think he's fun to watch. McCullough, I saw John Rossing reported that he might play through the issue, according to Self. So you might want to check on that before you make a move on this game as it becomes available a couple hours before game time, if it does become available. Because, he's a key point to that team. His athleticism on the wing, it would definitely be useful against the Seton Hall team. And I just don't think this Kansas team has the post-up threat that they've had in previous years to make life easier for everybody else. So I think they're vulnerable. But at the same time, it scares me that the Seton Hall Pirates struggled as much as they did in that Oklahoma game, second half. They kind of blew it, and then were a no-show against Siena. So I wouldn't touch them here. Again, this is a spot where I will stay away.
All right, going to stay away from that one. Maybe, just maybe, the guys will dabble in this intriguing one out west too, as Utah getting ready to take on Arizona. We're looking at a 6.5 point line there. Arizona laying at 154. This is going to be at 8:30, I believe, tip-off here, Eastern time. Drew, is this a totals game? It feels like every time I see Arizona, I should be looking at totals. Or are you comfortable enough to say, hey, they can go here in Utah and win this thing by margin?
Joe, absolutely could be a totals game for sure. In terms of side, this Arizona Wildcats team, I don't want to step in front of them, Joe. I don't know. This is a team, I know that they lost a lot of NBA talent last season, but sometimes these college basketball teams just reload, and we might be watching that with Arizona. Again, it's short sample size here, guys. 6-0 out the gate. They just beat a good Creighton team. You talked about it, Joe, at the top, the Bluejays. And now laying under a touchdown here, -6.5 on the road in Salt Lake. The Pac-12 Conference of Champions, great conference championship game Friday night in Las Vegas, by the way, on the gridiron. But talking about basketball, it's kind of a tricky handicap because they start their conference play kind of early. You know, it's like, what, we're just December 1st and we're already playing conference games, and then they go back to the non-conference. So it's almost a tricky handicap in itself tonight. And I know it's almost one of those things. Look, I think Arizona's the side, Joe, but their first road game in Salt Lake, going to altitude, it does worry me. However, it doesn't worry me enough not to bet it. I like this Arizona team. They've already beaten San Diego State, Creighton, Cincinnati, 3 top 75 teams. They're a team that runs it up and down the court. Number 1 in terms of adjusted pace of adjusted tempo, that is. So I think that they're going to control the pace, and -6.5. This is a team that can make it look small. I wouldn't go crazy and lay in the number just because it is their first road game. But, Joe, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of run it up here on the Utes because I really don't know what we get with the Utes. It's kind of a difficult handicap in itself, and I think we get a really good Arizona team, possibly a Final Four team here. So I would lay it with the Wildcats.
They have been as impressive as anybody here, especially with that Creighton-San Diego State game. And Drew was spot on there, Trig. But you've got contrasting styles, to say the least. You got a Utah team of 1-6 to the under. They don't play overs. They don't play a whole lot of let's see as many points as we can score. 4-2 to the over. Arizona. Something's going to give in this game, Trig. How are you going to approach it?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the ideal matchup for Arizona. Now, if Utah tries to play the way Arizona wants to play, then Arizona's probably going to win this game by 20. But Utah wants to slow them down. They played a game. I cashed with Utah, I think, maybe a week or two ago. Played Mississippi State. Played it in the low 50s. That's the type of game that Utah really wants here. That would benefit Utah in this matchup. Utah's got, they can defend the rim. So that's going to help Utah. They've got size, and their interior defense is good. Brandon Carlson, I've talked about him a couple times, 7-footer, can step out and hit shots. He was a complete no-show in that Mississippi State game. He didn't score a single point, which is, he's their leading scorer. And Utah still only lost that game by 3, covered the number of 6. Obviously, I think Arizona's a better team than Mississippi State, so I don't want to make sort of that comparison right here. But listen, Arizona comes off Maui as well. I think that's a fade type angle. I don't like these teams coming back from like Maui, the Bahamas, playing 3 games in 3 days and then having to go on the road. That's just not a profile that I want to bet on. So I lean toward the Utes. I love Craig Smith as a coach. I said before the Mississippi State game, I'm willing to bet on Craig Smith. That was part of the reason I wanted to bet Utah in that game +6. It ended up getting it done. This just missed my card. I couldn't quite get there for a client play on the Utes, but it's certainly the way I look. Salt Lake City's a tough place to play. Utah's been good at home. I think they can slow Arizona down. I think they have some interior, defense that could potentially, limit that Arizona offense a little bit. And so for that reason, I lean toward the Utes here, Joe.
It's a great point Trig makes me because you don't want a firefight with Arizona. Like, you ain't going to win a track meet here. So take the air out, just kind of make it as slow and as methodical as possible, take them out of their rhythm. Easier said than done, but they are at home. Who do you give the edge to here?
I give it to Arizona just because I mean, you score 87 on this year's San Diego State team. I mean, that's saying something. And we've seen Omar Ballo balling. And I mean, he was stuck on the bench for Arizona most of his career, so he's making the most of his opportunity. I like Tabellis, so they got two somewhat 7-footers that they can throw at Carlson, and it really is going to depend on Kirk Kriisa because he is so streaky. I mean, there are games I remember over the past couple of seasons where he just can't find it from beyond the arc, and you're on the Arizona side and you're killing yourself. And then there are other games where he's tremendous to watch, and he's really the catalyst for that team, from his guard position. So I think they've got to withstand the atmosphere. They've got to hit free throws and big shots down the stretch. They can absolutely win this game. I think it's a great starting point for this team that comes off a really impressive performance. Obviously beating Cincinnati and Creighton around that San Diego State game, and then you start your Pac-12 play on the road. Send a message. So yeah, this would be Arizona or pass for me.
All right, Arizona or pass. I believe Arizona won both matchups last year. We'll see if Utah can get it done in game one this year. There's some interesting games on this card here tonight. Some blue blood, some big matchups, some of these smaller conferences. It is, of course, now time to figure out if there is a game on this card these guys like a little bit more than the rest for a best bet. And do want to remind you guys, over at wagertalk.com on this Thursday, now would be the time for you to hop on to one of those 3-day, 7-day, or 30-day all-access packages. Why? Because every sport, every best bet, including all their 5% best bets, are yours and delivered instantaneously. Drew, who is on a 12-1 run right now, guys, absolutely crushing it. He's got a 5% best bet on this card here tonight. You get those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-X packages. You get not just that, but every other play he's got. Head over to wagertalk.com. Do it with Trig. Do it with Tony Mejia. Do it with Drew Martin. And Drew, taking a look at this card, which way you leading here tonight for a best bet?
Yeah, I'm going to go off the mainstream a little bit, Joe, and one that just missed my card. I just got down on it this morning. One I really like, heading to the Beehive State, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. You don't know what the Beehive State is? That's the state of Utah. Utah Tech and Utah State here, Joe. We're seeing the Aggies of Utah State laying 18.5, 146.5 being the total. It's 146 at DraftKings, and that's what I'm betting up and over. Guys, a couple reasons why. If you don't know anything about Utah Tech, it's actually not far from Las Vegas and St. George, Utah. The Trailblazers, they have one of the worst defenses in the country. Their field goal percentage against is pretty much bottom, like 340 in the nation. They're going up against Utah State, 5-0 so far this year in Mountain West, 4-1 to the over by an average of 16 points per game. So it's a short sample size here, guys, but the odds makers are off in pricing Utah State by 16 points totals-wise in each game. They are off of a 9-game layoff. That's a little bit of a worry if they come out rusty, but just 80, or not just 80, 81 possessions in their last game. So if you do a point per possession, which they'll probably get over that against Utah Tech, we're looking good. It's the number 1 3-point shooting team in the country. I think Utah State really runs it up. This Utah Tech team, Joe, just played one team in the top 100. That was Arizona. Arizona scored 104 points against them. I think Utah State flirts with triple digits here. 146 up and over for my best bet. Utah Tech and Utah State.
All right, love that, going off the board for the edge, and fantastic playing it right now, as a matter of fact. All right, Trick, talk to me here. Is Sienna on the board? Nope, no Sienna. So tell me, where are you going here tonight for a best bet?
Yeah, I'm going off the
grid
main board. Yeah, off the grid in terms of games we talked about. I'm going to the state of Delaware, Joe, where Delaware hosts Cornell. I gave this is a client play for me. I played Delaware minus 3.5 this morning. It got steamed quite a bit about an hour after I played it, so I decided to take it down, give it out for free. It's come back down a little bit now. I think I'm seeing saw -5 before the show. I think that's very playable here. I have a feeling Delaware wins this one going away. Cornell is off to a respectable start, 5-1. The one was a loss at the beginning of the season to Boston College. I think that's probably a little bit overblown. Boston College was shorthanded in that game. They still lost, of course, by 2, but they covered the number. Since then, they've won 5 games, but I'm not really buying into the sort of win streak, if you will. 2 of those games were against non-D1 opponents. One of those games was against Monmouth, which is as bad of a team that I've seen in person maybe ever. Joe, they're a horrible team, 0-8. And then Canisius and St. Francis, PA, 2 teams that I think 2-4, 2-6 respectively, have stumbled out of the gate a little bit. So I'm going to kind of sell high on Cornell here, and I'm buying in with this Delaware team, Joe. You want to talk about a team that had a tough start to the season. They played a non-D1 school at home, had to go out to Colorado Springs to play Air Force in a true road game. A week later, went down to Duke and played them at Cameron Indoor Arena. Those were like the only 2 games that they had for the first couple weeks of the season. They finally played in an MTE over the weekend at the Palestra in Philadelphia. I cashed a 4%er on Delaware. They beat Colgate outright. Impressive performance. They killed Hartford the next day by 30. And I don't put I'm not going to knock them for the loss to Penn, because I think Penn's a really good team. And Penn has been missing guys at points this year, and they had their guys, and they beat Delaware in that game on Sunday. Delaware finally comes home, Joe, to play a competitive home game. It's their first one of the season. Just a superior team, in my opinion. Jameer Nelson Jr. transfers in from George Washington last year. I think he's found a nice home in Delaware here. Had 30 in his last game, 19 points per game this season. And Jair Davis is as good as a player as you're going to find in the Colonial Athletic Association, in my opinion. A guy that Delaware might not have after this year because he's a sophomore, and I think he's that good. Might end up at a bigger school. LJ Owens comes from UMBC, a veteran. There's just more talent on this team, Joe. Delaware's, in my opinion, they're far superior. Cornell, this is a big step up for them, I think, from what they've played. I would be willing to say Delaware is easily the best team they will face this year. They're doing it on the road in a true road game. I think the Blue Hens are going to have no problem covering whatever numbers out there right now, Joe. I'll take the Blue Hens going away with this one. 4% play for me tonight at Wager Talk.
All right, getting it done with Delaware. Solid team, great coaching, great players, out of the class. Love that play. Talk to me here, Mejia. There's intriguing matchups here across all of the different conferences. Which one are you focusing in on here tonight?
Well, we'll go to Nashville, and the game that stands out to me is Belmont and Valpo. Ooh. Just because the line being what it is, it's 9. I thought it was a little too high, but then you do some digging and you realize that Valpo has been absolutely dreadful in true road games. They lost to Toledo by 15. No harm in that because Toledo's a juggernaut offensively. But they lost to Chicago State by 13. You know, they're much improved, but you should never lose at Chicago State by 13. And then you lost by 30 at Samford. So they do come off a overtime win against James Madison on Sunday, but so does Belmont. They come off a tight win. We didn't go to OT, but beating a Georgia State squad that I really like this season. The one thing that you have to watch is Shepard, Belmont's best player, is not a good free throw shooter. So I'm expecting this to be a lopsided result where you don't have to worry about free throws down the stretch. Win by 15 more, or more. But bottom line, if you're going to do that, you can also just ride the first half line as well. So Belmont first half or full game, take your choice.
All right, love it. Good stuff there. And our friends from the Gold Sheet, goldsheet.com, they've got a best bet here too. And like we've been telling you guys, great information, great handicapping tools, stats, write-ups on the games can be found over at goldsheet.com. Definitely something you should have in your handicapping toolbox here. Make sure you visit them and read the write-up here because they're going Wisconsin-Milwaukee here tonight. That is where they are going to focus their attention on it. Again, you can get this write-up in full, guys. Just visit goldsheet.com. Good stuff there. And, of course, just a couple of clicks away, and you can be a part of the Gold Sheet family. All right, so tonight I'm going to homer it, and I got no problem doing so because I thought the number was obnoxious. But I'm going to take the Oklahoma State Cowboys and their defense to limit the UConn Huskies that have been blowing just about everyone out, covering every game. And yes, they are good, UConn, don't get me wrong. But this is the most complete defense that they will have faced thus far. And they're only limiting guys to what, about 62 points a game? If you want to give me 8, 9, 10 points, which is about where it's been hovering here, I'll take those points here with an elite defense, and I'll back the Oklahoma State Cowboys here getting those points. One more time to recap here, guys. Utah Tech, Utah State over for Drew Martin, the 146 for him, while Trig goes, give it to him, Delaware, lay the 5, don't even think about it, just go get it. And Belmont, like this play, -9 here tonight for Mejia over Valpo. I'm going to take Oklahoma State. I'm going to grab those points, while the Gold Sheet backing Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and laying the 6.5. You guys should head over to wagertalk.com right now. And again, Drew Martin on a 12-1 run, crushing it, guys. And a 5% best bet tonight available right now. Go grab it. Grab one of those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages heading into this weekend, guys. It's college football, NBA, NFL, a lot of stuff there. Trig locked and loaded on a crazy football run and coming off a big 5% win last night. Tony Mejia in the association, ready to roll, guys. No reason not to make this a profitable start to the month of December. Visit all 3 of these guys over at wagertalk.com. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll be back again tomorrow, breaking down a few more games as we head into the weekend. College football kickoff show coming up here in just a few on the Wager Talk TV app, as well as YouTube and across all of those social media platforms. Until then, though, on behalf of Drew Martin, Adam Trigger, Tony Mejia, guys, best of luck with all your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again soon. Good luck.
Ready to take your favorite Wager Talk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The Wager Talk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like Wager Talk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report. Plus, browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for Wager Talk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.